Now our next guest, you probably know him best, his days at BET. Well, now he's back and he's going big. He's launching Los Angeles' first black-owned talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580. Help us welcome host, author, all-around decent guy, Tavis Smiley. Good morning to you, Tavis. Welcome to BNC, and thank you for starting your day with us. Yeah.
Good morning, Sharon.
We know your career. Yeah. Absolutely. We know your career. It is a long, storied one. You've been at the top heights, I should say, radio, television. What made you say, now I want to own this thing, perhaps to do it your way?
First of all, good morning to you. Good morning to Mike and the entire crew at BNC. And let me say very quickly that my hearts and prayers with those in that Florida city. Yeah. This is a horrible tragedy to wake up to. And this conversation, in some ways, this conversation seems trivial when you're talking about issues of life and death. So thank you for the few minutes that we're going to spend here before you get back to the breaking news. The short answer is that black media, as you well know, Sharon, is more relevant now than ever before. There's some stories that don't get told if we don't tell them, some issues that don't get raised if we don't raise them, and some people who are doing great work who don't get profiled if we don't profile them. And in this era of racial reckoning, it became abundantly clear to me, while I've been very blessed, as you said earlier, to own all of my content for these years, owning the distribution system is something different, being able to control your own narrative. And that's why we are excited to have launched earlier this week the first and only black-owned talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Yeah, because people can hold you hostage, Tavis, and they can cut you off when they're done with you if you don't own the distribution, as you well know. LA, though, it's huge. It is the second biggest market in television in the United States. It's a melting pot. A lot of competition, especially when it comes to national radio shows. I don't have to tell you that. So how are you going to stand out in the crowd? How are you going to push yourself and your product out there?
The problem with television, frankly, and certainly talk radio, which I call, Sharon, a conservative citadel all across this country, the problem is that for too long, talk radio in this country, and certainly in this multiracial city, believe it or not, has been all day, all night, all white. And something about that has to change. There has to be a platform for people of color and other progressive voices to have their say. And so I think it's really just about doing the work. I don't think we have to jump through a bunch of hoops or play a bunch of games or tricks. It's about giving people a platform where they can hear the truth. We believe in seeking the truth, speaking the truth, standing on the truth, and staying with the truth. And I believe that if you just seek the truth and give people a chance to be heard, give them a voice, give them a platform, they'll embrace it. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's all we're trying to do, quite frankly.
We know 4 years ago you went through it. Okay, it was painful for you, and you let us know it. You lost your longtime TV talk show on PBS. A lot of us, it was appointment television, and the accusations were harsh. Sexual misconduct. Last year, though, a jury found you in breach of the morals clause in your contract. And people who don't know this, they're in all of our contracts, and they can make them say whatever they want, quite frankly, or interpret them any way they want. You previously, though, said, I did not do this, the allegations. Where do you stand now? And is that still a source of controversy and hurt with you, or have you moved past it?
Yeah. I stand, Sharon, thank you for the question. Happy to answer. I stand now where I stood almost 4 years ago, which is denying these false and scurrilous allegations. In life, we cannot control what happens to us. We do control how we respond to what happens to us. And after 4 years of fighting these allegations, it's time to get back to work doing what I do, trying to engage my work and my witness. I could be sore, I could be sad, I could whine the rest of my life. But ultimately, it's about doing the work and the witness of loving and serving people. And so when these allegations were raised, I filed a lawsuit against the network to protect my good name.
Yeah, I remember.
That lawsuit we lost. That case is on appeal. But it was never about, this was not a Me Too case. It was a contract case. And as you mentioned, in all of our contracts, we have morals clauses. And as you also intimated, these morals clauses are really moving targets. They can be anything the network wants it to be. And if you are in a contract dispute, as I am, it becomes an easy way out of renewing or honoring a contract. And so I sued them because I did not violate my morals clause. And so I stand where I stood then. So we're going to appeal the case, and the lawyers will do what they do, but I got to do what I do. And that means getting back to work again, trying to love and serve people, and trying to raise issues that just don't get raised, or voices like ours don't put the spotlight on these men.
Yeah, and you mentioned this time in our history, this moving, living, breathing time for
Mhm.
Black and brown people. So it had to be frustrating to be off the air. You're back now. How has the time away changed your perspective, or maybe it's doubled down on some things that you want to achieve?
First of all, how's it impacted me? A lot of rust. I've learned this week that when you sit out for 3.5, 4 years, Sharon, you got some rust you have to work out, and so we're working through that.
You
I've been
look
blessed
good.
to have done this
You
for
look good.
well, I'm trying to hold it together, but it's as we all are in these difficult times. But
Yeah.
there's some rust that one has to work out. But ultimately, to answer your question more expressly, it has just emboldened me. If you thought that
Wow.
I was, unafraid or unabashed before about speaking on behalf of our people, I feel even more strongly about that now because of the
Hmm.
condition in our country. We have to do our part to make America once and for all, one day, a nation as good as its promise. And the gap between the promise in America and the possibility for all of its citizens is still too wide. And so I am more committed now to the work that I've done. I'm doubling down on the work that I've done. But my belief in Black people, my hope for Black people, my aspirations for Black people are stronger now than they've ever been.
Well, we love it. And I can't wait to hear what you're, because my last question was going to be what can listeners expect? But you just answered it. And we look forward, Tavis, to listening to you and having your important voice back in the arena. So thank you for answering all questions. And we look forward to a new day dawning. Thank you for starting your day with us.